What's up, dudes? It's King, and today we are going to watch True Scary Animation. And I created a new series for us, and it's called Spooky Scary Sunday. And I know I'm not the one who created the Spooky Scary Sunday. There's other YouTubers created, and I will leave a link down of their channel, so you can go check it out. And the animation is called the Dark Dice Animation, and you can see at the sign it say it's finger licking good. So before when you are starting the video, let's hit the subscribe button and come from the It's Lit countdown. And my editor will do the intro. So yes. Okay, we are back. And you can see we are at our first animation. Let's start.
Years, and after going back, it reminded me of one of the scariest moments I had as a kid. I'm an adult now. This took place probably.
I have one question. How can you get scared in KFC? Like, come on. It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken. Like, how can you be scared there? I will eat there like for a full hour, especially that milkshake. Oh, I like the Oreo one. I love the milkshake. It's like the best part of the KFC. Let's
About
start.
20 years ago. I was maybe like 7 or 8, and my family would occasionally get KFC for dinner. It was one of my favorite things that we would get, and I always looked forward to it. Usually,
Man, his face is more better than my animation.
my dad would go and pick it up from the restaurant and
Even
bring it
his
home,
hair.
and then we'd have it in our dining room. One night, I decided to go with my dad for some reason. I'm not really sure why.
And if you guys don't want me to talk in the video, I'll leave a link down um, to his videos so you can check it out.
It was a Saturday night, and it must have been either the fall or the spring, because I remember that it was sort of cold out, and it was already almost dark at about 6:30 p.m.
Okay.
We went inside, and my dad got in line to order. There was like one person ahead of us who was currently ordering, and as I waited, I began to kind of wander off around the restaurant. I remember that nobody
Okay,
else.
one thing I have to say. I don't leave my parents at all. Like if I leave my parents, you'll see me out of that store immediately. I don't know even my parents' number right now. How should I know? How should I stay in the KFC place where like McDonald's will come there and try to kill me? I don't know. It's KFC.
Was sitting down and eating throughout the entire place. I got bored easy and was kind of in my own world, just walking around, looking at what I saw. I noticed that the person who had been ordering in front of my dad left,
The
and my
man
dad was
got
now
some
up to order.
Adidas.
I was just looking around the place and was near the back corner where there was another door. I was looking out the window when I heard the main door in front of the KFC open. I saw a man walk inside, and he went up to my dad as if he was starting to
Jeez,
talk to him.
he
Then,
looked like Bruno. Like, come on, is it just me or he looks like Bruno?
back corner where there
Like,
was another door.
he
I
got the
was looking out the
eyesight and
window
the bushy
when I heard
hair.
the main door in front of the KFC open. I saw a man walk
We don't
inside,
talk
and he went up to
about
my dad as if he was
Bruno.
starting to talk to him. Then, the
Let
back
me
door that
not
was
get
near me opened.
copyrighted.
I saw a grown woman walk in. She sort of looked around, and then at me and smiled. She then extended
That's
her
an
hand to me to
evil
shake
looking
it and said
smile.
hi. I was sort of confused by this, but I shook her hand and
Bye.
said hi back to her. But in shaking my hand, she didn't let go. She grabbed my wrist and started walking backwards to the door, only about 5 feet away. I was surprised by this, and before I knew it, we were outside.
Oh
I didn't
no.
say anything. I was just really confused at first. I
Oh
remember the
no.
woman said something like she just wanted to show me something really quick. She led me right around the corner of the building to a van.
Okay,
It
let
looked
me
old
let
and
me just say I'll totally go in there. I almost got kidnapped by a person for real. I'm not joking. And my cousin say I must not talk about it. My cousin is the main reason why I'm still alive. So shout out to him.
Yeah, and the door was already open. She then put her other arm around me and
Oh
kind of
heck
lifted me
nah,
into the
leave
van without
me.
telling me to go inside or anything. At the same time, I saw a man come jogging from the other side of the building. When
We
he got
don't talk
closer, I
about
recognized him to be the
Bruno.
same man that had started talking to my dad. He helped the woman get me inside the van, and they slammed the door
What?
shut. The man then sprinted around to the driver's door. Around the same time, though, I started to see
Bro.
another guy running around the corner of the building where we were.
Betrayal.
It was my dad. He was sprinting towards us, and I heard the woman who was in the back seat next to me, still holding onto my wrist, start to scream. She was yelling "go" to the man, but the man driving then turned and said, "No, let him out." My dad reached the van and stood in front of it.
Bro.
I could hear him yelling. The woman ended up opening my door and then shoving me outside. My dad came around and grabbed me as they sped away. I remember my dad pointing out that the van didn't have any license plates on it when they drove off.
Oh,
We then went back.
I was about to say if I was the father, I would check that license plate, go to the police, and go to the FBI.
Inside after that, and my dad called the police and then began yelling at the people working at KFC. Obviously, it wasn't their fault, but he was just angry. The whole time,
I'll
I
still
didn't
be
really know.
angry. How does KFC didn't know my whole child and a creepy woman smiles like Pennywise coming to take my child outside? Like what makes sense in that?
To do. I just never expected anything like that to happen. After the police arrived at the KFC, I talked to a few officers and told them everything that happened, including describing the man and woman and their vehicle. Eventually,
If I was that kid, I would say one dude looked like Bruno and the other woman looked like Pennywise, but the but the uglier version.
I was able to go home. We didn't go to that particular KFC for a long time after that.
I'll do the same. Wait, I didn't read. Through KFC, don't know that word. 7Y horror story animation story 2. So this part 2.
Last year, I went to the KFC drive-thru one night. I was driving home after doing some shopping, and I don't remember the exact time, but it was maybe like 9 p.m. or so. I
Okay.
was craving a chicken sandwich from KFC, so when I saw one close to the stores I had been at, I
Wait,
stopped at
KFC
it.
have chicken sandwich? Man, I'm missing out.
I went in the drive-thru to order faster, but when I arrived at the menu and rolled my window down, I didn't hear anything at the other end. I waited for about a minute and looked around. The lights were still on, so it looked like they might still be open. However, nobody was saying anything. I asked if anybody was there, but still didn't get a response. I noticed headlights
Okay.
approaching behind me and saw a larger-looking truck pulling into the drive-thru behind me. I decided to look online to see
My
if they
mom
were.
also gets KFC like when she talks to people or when she's like going to the KFC drive-through, she always roll up she's window and close the door. Do you know why? Because I don't know, some stranger homeless man like rob my mom. I don't know. He just break the window. Now my mom locks the door. Um, close up the window.
Actually open or not. I took out my phone, and for a minute I was looking
Bad
to find the
idea.
KFC when I heard the truck behind me honk.
Homeless man not
I
take it.
looked and couldn't see who was in the truck due to the bright headlights, but I figured the guy wanted me to hurry up. As I was on my phone, I heard a door open and shut behind me. The next thing I knew, I saw a man approaching my driver's window. I rolled it down, and the guy was angry right away.
Okay.
He had longer hair and a beard, and was yelling at me to hurry up and said I was wasting his
Man, he
time.
look like one of the
I told
wrestling
the man that they were
characters.
closed, and nobody had answered the intercom. The man
Yeah.
didn't seem to understand me, though, and kept going on about how I was wasting everybody's time and how mad he was. He
Bro.
began yelling at me in a threatening way, and it seemed as though he was likely drunk or high or on some sort of drugs. He really wasn't making a whole lot of sense, and I decided to just tell the man that I was sorry and that I was going to leave. I didn't know what he was capable of, and the man then cursed at me and started returning to his truck. I
Bro,
was
don't
happy
know
he was
curse
gone,
on me.
and I began to drive away. I figured he could find out for himself that the place was closed and nobody would answer him. But when I drove off, he began following me. He was honking and
What?
revving his engine as he drove extremely close to my car. I was concerned because if the man was on drugs, he
Bro,
certainly shouldn't be operating a vehicle. He also was driving a big truck that was much larger than my little car.
look. If somebody is following me, they will straight. I'm going to the police officer, looking at the mirror, and checking those license plates.
I drove out onto the road and he followed. I was hoping he would pass me, and a short time after we got past the businesses to a more rural area, he did begin to pass me. But when the man's truck got about even with my car, I saw him roll down his window and start yelling at me again. He then veered his truck
This is
towards my
not
car and
scary.
was starting to run me off the road. I slammed on my brakes and stopped, and the truck kept going and ended up
The
crashing
only
into
thing
the
is
ditch.
scary is your
I
eyes.
stopped there on the side of the road and saw the
Oh
man exit
no.
the vehicle and began running towards mine. I sped away after that, and I called the police and reported the whole incident. Looking back, I'm glad the man went into the ditch because he could have caused a serious accident or got somebody hurt. I'm not sure what his problem was or why he was acting that way.
That's it? I thought it would be more scary.
I work at KFC. I've been working with the company for about a year now, and this has got to be the scariest thing that's ever happened while working there, let alone my entire lifetime. I was working the late
Okay.
shift on a Thursday night. It was about 9 p.m. I'd been helping my manager on drive-thru with packing orders as we were getting a little bit of a rush in the drive-thru.
One thing I like these true horror stories. Why the females are speaking like grown men adults?
There hadn't been anybody in the lobby for a while, and no one had come inside for the last hour. As I had finished making a famous bowl and passed it along to my manager to give to the drive-thru cashier, I heard the door to the restaurant open, and it made the noise that it always did when someone was coming in. I walked over to the front counter to greet whoever was there, but I saw no one at first. I turned around and went for a couple of seconds when suddenly I heard a voice call out to me. There was a girl now standing there who hadn't been there a few seconds before, and I had only turned my back for a very short time. I actually thought the girl was very pretty. She was my type and everything. I
Yeah,
asked
a
how I could
girl
help
with
her,
pink
and she
eye.
ordered a two-piece with mac and cheese and a drink. She told me that she found me pretty cute, which I was actually kind of taken aback by it. She even told me that I looked good in the red uniform shirt. I laughed while
Ma'am,
blushing,
okay,
but I couldn't directly say that I thought she was beautiful, as I
ma'am, I want to break it to you. Stop flirting to me. I'm in love to Burger King, so sorry. I don't like
had
you.
to remain professional. I went to go pack her order, and when I was done packing, I brought it to the front counter and called out to her to tell her her order was ready. I waited for a minute and got no response. I called out to her again, but still nothing. I thought maybe she went to go sit at a booth that was a little far back from the kitchen. When
Most
I
of
went
the
there, however, she
KFC
was
employees put the KFC like at the table and dust out their numbers so they can come. If they don't come, that is their problem.
nowhere to be seen. I was very confused, but I thought maybe she had just gone to the bathroom or something, so I went back to doing my work. Eventually, about an hour passed. It was time to lock the door to the lobby. I did, and then realized the girl who had walked in there. I looked back at the table, and the food was just sitting in the same place I had left it. I couldn't believe it. I went to knock on the girl's bathroom, as maybe something bad had happened to her, and I was quite worried.
Okay.
Eventually, after a few knocks and calling out a few times, I had gotten no response. I decided to open the door, and when I did, it clearly looked like nobody had been in there the entire time.
Bro,
I then
give
attempted
the
the men's
girl's
restroom where she
bathroom
could have gone in as well,
privacy.
but I got the same results. There was absolutely no one in there. I was in complete shock. How was this possible? The pack line wasn't too far from the front counter, and I could hear the entire time someone had come in there.
Bro, you're so lonely. You are thinking about the girl is not even real.
From the time that the girl had come in there to now, I hadn't heard the door open or close once, and no customers had come in after that. I was very creeped out. I didn't know how she could have left, but I had about 2 hours of my shift left.
I guess
I didn't
she
tell my
used
manager
shadow
or anyone
clones.
else what had happened in fear of getting accused of lying. I cleaned the entire lobby, clean the front counter area, and whatever other small tasks I had to do before leaving. I usually walk to and from the KFC, as I don't live very far, and it's about a 20-minute walk. I said goodbye to my coworkers for the night and began walking home. About 10 minutes into my walk, I had gotten this overwhelming feeling that I was being watched. I turned back, and my jaw dropped. Standing about 500 feet down the road was the same girl that had been in the KFC. I backed up and turned my head for a second, but when I looked back, she was gone, like she vanished into thin air.
I'm
I
telling
was
you,
so
you're
scared
just
that I ran the rest of the way
imagining it.
home. Once I got to my door,
Yep,
I
that is
unlocked it as
me.
quick as I could and
Every
rushed
time when I
inside.
switch off the light, I
This was by
split.
far the scariest thing that ever happened to me working at KFC and in my life in general. This was only about 3 weeks ago, so it's still very fresh in my mind. I told one of my managers what had happened, and when I described what the girl looks like, and she was in complete shock.
What?
She said it sounded like I was describing Kaylee, an employee that I had heard of before. She had passed away a few months before I started working there.
Oh.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing at the same time, and it made me pretty emotional.
Fourth story, finger licking good. Horror story,
During a
KFC.
time when I was done with college and wasn't able to find a job right away, I took a job at a 7-Eleven because I needed money. I worked mostly late night and overnight shifts. What I liked about this was that there wasn't many people that came in, and I would have a lot of free time by myself to play on my phone or listen to podcasts. I was always a night owl, but I didn't really like staying up all night when I would have to work those hours. Anyways, I'd been working there for maybe about 2 months, and one night I was working by myself very late. It was probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, but I don't remember the exact time. The location that our 7-Eleven is at is on a road just off the highway, and we're really busy during the day, but not so much at night. We
Okay.
had several customers early on, and for the first few hours I had quite a bit to do actually. But now, we would get only like one person every 20 minutes or so, and I started to get bored. I noticed that in the back corner of the store where we had the soda machine and icy machines, there was a spill on the floor. Seeing as though we didn't have any customers, I decided to go over and mop it up. I left the counter and walked over to the back near the bathrooms where we kept the mop, then over to the corner where the spill was. I saw the spill. Looked like Coca-Cola. Thankfully, the floor hadn't gotten all gross and sticky yet, and the mop was working well.
Wait,
As I was
Coca-Cola
mopping,
can get
I
sticky.
suddenly heard the sound of the front door opening and somebody walk inside. Realizing I wasn't at my counter, I rested the mop against the wall and looked over to see who had entered our store. Where I was, you couldn't see the front door, and whoever was in the front door couldn't see me either. I could, however, just see the front counter. I saw somebody standing at the front counter with their back to me. They seemed to be looking around as though they were looking for someone who worked there. Realizing I needed to go back there, I took a couple of steps over to them, and as I did, I noticed them turn and their head went to the side. They
Heck
hadn't noticed
nah.
me, but I
I
did see
thought
them
it's
looking to the side,
KFC.
revealing that they were wearing some sort of mask.
Heck
It
nah.
appeared to be a really creepy looking clown mask. I then noticed that he was wearing a dark blue jacket, and his right hand was in his pocket. Immediately I got a bad feeling, as if he was up to no good, and possibly looking to rob the place. I froze in place, telling myself to stop being scared for no reason, and to just go. I thought,
Stupid,
what are
I'm
the odds
not
he's trying
going.
to
I
rob the
can get
store?
fired.
It had never happened before. But as I was standing there, I watched the man then go around and behind the counter himself. As a pure reaction to this, I jumped behind the nearest aisle and hid. I could hear the man messing with stuff behind the counter, and it sounded like he was going through the cash register. I figured he was in fact robbing the place, and as I was hiding back there, I decided to call the police. I got up my phone and dialed, but as soon as I heard the 911 operator answer the phone, I suddenly heard the man go quiet from whatever he was doing and say something. Out of fear, I quickly hung up the phone and held my breath. I heard the man shout from behind the counter, asking who was inside and to come out now. He spoke in a loud and demanding tone. I wasn't going to, though. I was way too scared to move. At this point, I just wanted to get out of there. I knew our store was being robbed, but they didn't pay me enough to try to stop this guy. I just
Kind
wanted
of
to call
true.
the police again, but obviously the man could hear me if I did. I heard his footsteps moving out from behind the counter and get a little bit closer to me. But then they stopped, and I didn't hear anything. I was not moving a muscle, and I was being as quiet as I possibly could be. Then, I heard the door to the building open and shut. I guessed that the guy was leaving, because I
No.
didn't hear anything else for about a minute after that.
I know. I
Finally,
know
I
those
pulled out
mind
and
games.
slowly
I'm
took
not
a few
doing that.
steps
I'm
out.
waiting for an hour.
I still heard nothing, and knew this had to mean that the guy was gone.
No.
I walked over to the counter to examine what exactly the man had done, and
He's
how much
there.
he had took. When I got there, though, I passed by the front of the counter where I could see clearly outside. I saw that the man was
I
standing
knew
right in
it.
front of the door, looking inside, with his creepy clown mask still on. I jumped back when I saw this, and the man started to walk inside. I ran back towards the end of the store where I had hid before, and I heard the man come in and shout at me to come out and stop hiding like a baby. His footsteps were
Give me
fast
a
approaching
gun, then
mine,
I'll stop
and I
hiding
knew I
like a
probably
baby.
wouldn't be able to hide from him this time. I was ducking down and quietly moving through aisles to try to hide from the man. This continued for probably a minute, and I knew I couldn't keep this up for much longer. I could hear where the man was, but suddenly I heard the man yell a curse word and then run back to the front and leave the building again. I was confused, but this time decided to stay hiding. Out of curiosity, though,
He found
I
him
took a quick
outside.
peek outside. This time I saw a police car in the parking lot, and it turned its flashing lights on as I saw another car starting to drive away. I stayed hidden until I saw the police stopping the man, and I knew it was safe. I guess my call to the police had gone through, even though I hadn't been able to speak with them. Luckily, the man was caught, and after this night, I decided I didn't want to work overnights again.
Of
I still
course.
worked there for another few months, even working late shifts, but didn't have to work by myself again.
Bro, buy a shotgun. What do you think I am playing? I don't understand why.
This happened
Where is the
roughly 4 years
KFC?
ago. At the time, my friend Brandon took a trip out of town, and I had made the agreement to pick him up from the airport when he returned. I had drove him to the airport after all, and we were good friends, going all the way back to high school. When I got to the airport, his flight had gotten delayed by an hour, and it ended up being a pretty late night. Eventually, he
I
finally
know
did
that's how
arrive,
he
and I
feels.
gave him a ride home. I wouldn't do this for probably any other person than Brandon. Plus, he paid me some cash, so it wasn't too bad. When I dropped him off at his place, I started driving back to mine, but quickly saw how I was low on gas.
Why that dude look like he
I pulled
came
into the
from
next gas
China?
station on the side of the road, which was a 7-Eleven. My experience at 7-Elevens were always good. In fact, it was my favorite gas station and convenience store. I stopped at the pump and prepaid. As I was filling my car's tank with gas, I
Why he
realized
look
that I
like
really
one
had
of
to
those
use the restroom.
samurais, dude?
So when I was done fueling, I walked into the store. As I walked inside, things seemed quiet. After all, no other cars had been at the pumps, and I barely saw someone working behind the counter.
Oh,
I walked straight
I'm not
towards the
going
back
there.
corner of the store where they had the small bathroom. I did my business and began washing my hands. I wasn't even in the bathroom for more than probably 30 seconds total. Suddenly, all the power in the store went out, and things
Oh
were
shoot,
pitch black.
I'm scared there.
This was really strange because it hadn't been raining or storming or anything like that. I finished washing my hands and reached into my pocket to pull out my phone. But when I did, my phone wasn't there. I quickly realized that my phone had to still be in my car. It must have fallen out of my pocket, which is something that happened quite a bit. I really couldn't see anything at all, so I felt my way over to the door and left the bathroom. Once outside, into the 7-Eleven, everything was still dark, except now I could just see a tiny bit more from the windows on the far end of the store. Everything was silent. I began trying to walk to the front of the store without hitting anything. As I was slowly walking, I heard footsteps from the next aisle over, about 20 feet away. I said out loud something about the power being out, trying to make conversation with the person. But whoever was there didn't say anything back to me.
You
I already
goofed
felt
up.
a little creeped out from being in the dark late at night. But now with the person in there who wasn't talking to me just made it a little weirder. I kept moving and eventually found the front counter. I looked over it and could see a little bit over due to the moonlight shining through the window next to it. It appeared as though nobody was behind the counter at all. In fact, I said hi and didn't get a response. After this, I went back and started towards the front door. I could actually see it and went a couple of steps over to it, and
Oh
suddenly
no,
I felt somebody grab my right arm and yank me back.
that
I
actually
fell to
scared
the
me.
ground after losing my balance. Then, I felt myself start to be dragged backwards. It was
Kick
terrifying.
the man,
I was
samurai
desperate.
dude.
I rolled over a little, and then swung my body around, and as I did, kicked as hard as I could to whoever had me.
Yes.
I definitely hit them, because I felt solid contact, but again, couldn't see anything. I was let free momentarily and got up to run outside. Due to it being so dark, though, I ran into some type of display that they had at the front of the store.
Oh.
I heard whoever was running behind me close in, and they reached me once
Who
again.
runs like that?
My arm was grabbed once more, but this time, I didn't allow it to pull me back or down to the ground. I kicked backwards and felt myself hit whoever's
samurai
leg was
dude.
there. I heard a man's voice yell a little bit, and this time I was able to get away again and make it all the way outside the door. I got out and ran to my car, seeing
Go
all
to
the
my
lights outside of
Bugatti
the gas
and get
station
it
were
out
off
there.
as well. When I finally made it back to my car, I didn't see the man exit the store. I still got inside as fast as I could though, locked my door, and started my engine. As I began to drive away, I felt somebody grab my back passenger side door handle and try to open it, and then heard a loud bang against my back door. This caused me to hit the gas even harder than I already was, and I sped away from there. I was able to make
I
it
will
back
turn
home.
around
I was
and
pretty
bomb
shook up
that
for the
dude
rest of the
to
day.
death.
I haven't gone back to that 7-Eleven since then,
But it
but
can
I have
also
drove
cause
by it
me
several
to go
times.
to jail.
I always wonder what exactly was going on inside there.
Final story.
This happened back when I was like 16 and in high school. At the time, my older sister had just graduated high school and had been accepted into several different colleges.
Why is your older
We lived up
sister
north
look
and she was looking to go to school in the
like a
south.
20-year-old
Because of this,
woman?
my parents, sister,
Oh,
and me
that's
all made a road
the
trip
mother.
down south to
Oh,
visit schools. We
wait,
saw several
20
schools
is
the first
young.
few days, and we're going to visit the University of Oklahoma the
I'm
next day.
stupid. Don't ask.
I remember that it was a late night of driving, and we had been up for
Did I
quite
say
a
20
while.
or 30?
We were maybe an hour or two away from our hotel when I heard my dad say we were almost out of gas. We had an SUV, and at this moment, my parents were in the front seat, my sister was sleeping in the middle row, and I was in the back row seats. My
Wrong
dad
idea.
pulled off the busy road and onto a quieter one. As we drove
Maybe
down
not.
the road into a seemingly small town, I remember just thinking that the town seemed sketchy. Maybe it was because it was
Everything
really late
feels
at night,
sketchy.
or maybe it was because of how everything seemed a little old and run down. But I just felt a little bit creeped out. We pulled into the gas station, and as we did, my dad looked to see if anybody else was awake. I saw that my
Where's the
mom was sleeping as
KFC?
well. My dad asked me to run inside the 7-Eleven we were now at and get him
No,
a
you do
coffee.
it, old man. I'm not
I
doing
said
it.
sure and left the car and walked up to the store. As I was walking there, it was very quiet and just 2 other cars were in the parking lot. I entered the
I'm not
7-Eleven
doing it.
and
I'm
went to
not
where I
going in
guessed
there.
the coffee would be. Walking inside, everything was eerily quiet. I was able to find the coffee and made a cup for my dad. As I was finishing up, I heard footsteps coming near me. I looked over and saw a man coming around the corner of one of the aisles, walking slowly towards me. The man was short and wore sunglasses.
Me, what I'm feeling in my head. What's that fat dude with his shady glasses, bro? Huh? Probably nothing.
A black jacket, and I could see he had a longer beard. He was looking right at me as he was walking. I thought maybe he wanted to get a coffee and I was in his way, so I started walking in another direction. When I did, I noticed the man stopped near the coffee, but he didn't take any. Instead, he seemed to just stare at me, not taking his eyes off me wherever I was. I was hungry myself and thought the guy was just a little weird, but that's all. I tried to shake my feeling of being creeped out and went down to the snack aisle to see what they had. But not long after this, I was looking at some licorice, and I heard some noise at the end of the aisle. I saw the man once again, just standing there, leaning into the aisle and staring at me. I
Bro,
decided
leave
at this
me alone.
point that the man was a complete creep.
Don't you have your own
I grabbed a
business to
snack
do?
and headed towards the counter. I wanted to just get out of there. I checked out, buying a snack, some water, and my dad's coffee. As I was paying, I casually turned around and saw the same guy staring at me
Bro,
again.
I will kill
It didn't
you.
surprise
Get
me.
away
Once
from
I had
me.
checked out, I quickly walked out of the 7-Eleven and back to our SUV at the other side of the parking lot. When I got there, I saw my dad had finished getting gas and was sitting in the front seat of the SUV looking at his phone. When I had almost reached our car, I looked behind us. There was a bit of grass next to the parking lot to the 7-Eleven, and I saw some random guy also wearing sunglasses oddly, walking towards us. I then looked over to the 7-Eleven and saw the guy that had been watching me walking past one of the cars in the parking lot,
Why is the
going
dude
straight for
smiling?
ours. quickly got inside our car, handed my dad his coffee, and then carefully went to my spot in the back seat without waking up my sister. Now that I was in the back seat, I felt safer, but saw that my dad was still on his phone, not really paying attention to what was going on outside. He didn't seem to be in a quick hurry to leave, and I looked out the windows and now saw two more random guys in sunglasses walking
drive
towards
the
us.
car, old man.
The same guy from
We
the
are
gas
going to
station was there as
die.
well, and he was now just about 20 feet away. There was 4 people, all walking towards us, and I now yelled to my dad to leave because there were people coming to us. My dad looked around, confused.
Drive the car.
Luckily, our engine was already running. Once my dad realized what was going on, he saw it just in time when the men had almost reached us. My dad sped out of there and back onto the road, and quickly made it back onto the freeway where we had been before.
Almost
No
died
idea who
because
those
you're
guys
lazy.
were or what they wanted, but they sure were suspicious.
You're
Glad
lazy
we got
butt.
away before they reached us.
Our official merch store is finally here. If you want to support.
Thank you guys for watching this video, and be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.